Hey, Villarreal here. Today we're talking about how much Bitcoin do you need to accumulate before the next Bitcoin halving. If you didn't know when the next Bitcoin halving is, it's going to be roughly around April 2024, or I think roughly April 26th of 2024. And that's whenever, Bitcoin will have its next halving of roughly getting through, I think 210,000 transactions or 210,000 blocks. We're cutting the block size from 6.25 Bitcoin all the way down to 3.125 Bitcoin, which is a pretty significant cut in the inflation of how much Bitcoin gets released every single day. Now, without any further ado, before we get into the video, I do want to tell you guys, go straight into the description down below. There's some helpful links for me. Deposit bonuses, subscribe, like, comment, follow, whatever you guys want to do. Helps me out a ton. But let's get straight into the video of how much Bitcoin you actually need, which is roughly not that much, depending on what you want to do. So if you want to accumulate 0.01, 0.1 Bitcoin or 2 Bitcoin, and then within the next quarter, this is what's going to cost you right now if you were to buy with whole coin. Now, obviously, no one has $52,000 to buy 2 whole coins. If you do, that's great, fantastic. Do buy 2 whole Bitcoins. This is probably the cheapest you'll ever get it. But we're going to talk about how much the quantity you need per quarter to get how much Bitcoin is respectively. So if you want to get 2, you need to get 0.5. If you want to get 1, you need about 2.25 Bitcoin every quarter, or 0.1 Bitcoin desired amount, 0.025. Same thing with 0.01, 0.0025. And for the monthly, what that looks like for the amount of Bitcoin you would need to have would be roughly 0.16 for 2 in a year, 0.083 to have 1 in a year, 0.008 to have 0.1 in a year, and 0.0008 to have 0.01 in a year. And respectively, costs you about $52,000, $26,000, $2,600, and $260. You may need to be in a different part of the world. Maybe you're not inside the United States, but I think everybody should have a goal to at least have 0.01 Bitcoin. But if you can't afford 0.01 Bitcoin or $2,600, maybe you can afford $260 worth of Bitcoin. And I do want to go into the bull case and the bear case of how much Bitcoin you will need, or how much Bitcoin's price will be at the amount that you're going to buy. And so for quarter 3, I did put the amount at roughly $26,000. And for you to get the respective amount of Bitcoin, it's going to cost you roughly $13,000 to have 0.5, $6,500 to get you 0.25, and $650 to get you 0.25, and then $65 to get you 0.0025. Now, for the bear case, I put us at the same price, and I think it's the same price. So, I mean, we could just put this to open. But I do want to go over the next prices, and these prices are going to go respectively for quarter 4, which will be anywhere from September to December of this year. I think we sit maybe around $35,000. We are at a local low at $26,000. Maybe we go up another $10,000, roughly another 10%. I think that's well in its possibility of us going up to $35,000 before the end of the year. Maybe you don't think so, maybe you do think so, but we do have a lot of bullish sentiment out there, and the halving is within the next 12 months. So the time is now, essentially. And then for quarter 1, I put the price at roughly $60,000. And for quarter 2 of 2024, I put the price of roughly $75,000 for a 1 whole coin. I do want to go into how much US dollars it's going to cost you to get that respective amount of Bitcoin, which is roughly for 2 to have 0.05, $17,500, $8,750 for 0.25, $875 for 0.025, and $87.50 for 0.0025. How much is it going to cost you in quarter 1 at $60,000? It's going to cost you $30,000 to get that same 0.5 Bitcoin. It's going to cost you 0.25 to get 0.25 Bitcoin. It's going to cost you about $15,000. 0.025 Bitcoin, roughly $1,500, and then $150 for 0.0025. For at $75,000, whenever the halving does happen, maybe it costs you $37,000 to accumulate 0.5 Bitcoin. $18,750 for you to accumulate 0.25 Bitcoin, and for 0.01 Bitcoin, or to accumulate the final 0.1 Bitcoin that you need, it would cost you $1,875 and $187.50 for 0.01. Now, what about the bear case? What if we don't see these highs, or we don't continue seeing appreciation for Bitcoin? let's say we go down in the next month and we keep going down and we go down all the way to $15,000. How much is it going to cost you to get the same amount of 0.5, 0.25, or the same amount of Bitcoin you would get before? And the answer to your question is it's going to cost you about $7,500 to get 0.5 Bitcoin. For you to get 1 Bitcoin, it's going to cost you about $3,750. For the 0.025 Bitcoin for that quarter is $375, and the 0.0025 Bitcoin $37.50. Maybe we appreciate a little bit, and $15,000 is the lowest low we'll ever see for 2023, and that's the lowest low, and we keep going up. So let's say we go to $25,000, roughly $1,000 less than where we are now. But let's say we appreciate by another $10,000. How much is it going to cost you to accumulate that same amount of Bitcoin? Well, it won't be too far from right here, but let's just see. $12,500, so you get a $500 discount roughly. $6,250 for 0.25, $625 for 0.025, and $62.50 for 0.0025. And what about quarter 2 of 2024? Remember, this is the bear case of maybe it doesn't go to the price, and I say we go to $30,000. Now, why would I say we go to $30,000? Because we would have sat at $30,000 for roughly 2 years for Bitcoin's history, which is a lot of time for it to be at that price. But how much is it going to cost for you to accumulate at that price? $15,000 for 0.5, for 0.25, $7,500. For 0.025, it's going to cost you about $750, and for $75 for you to get 0.0025. Now, where does this all come to at the total price for you to accumulate all this Bitcoin at the bull case? So, for you to accumulate 2 whole Bitcoin in that 12-month time, it's going to cost you roughly $98,000 for you to accumulate all that. Same thing for 1 Bitcoin, it's going to cost you about $49,000. For you to accumulate all that Bitcoin for 0.1 Bitcoin, it's going to cost you about $4,900. And then same thing for 0.01. I'm guessing it's $490. Oh, yep, I was right. Let's look at how much it is going to be for the bear case, and I'll just open these all up at the same time. But $48,000 for 2 Bitcoin, 1 Bitcoin $24,000, 0.01 Bitcoin $2,400, and then $240 for 0.01. And these are all great numbers for you guys to be able to accumulate. But how much is that going to be at the respective price? What we think will be $75,000 or $30,000 for both the bull and the bear. What the price will be in quarter 4. Might shock you, but it's going to be roughly $150,000 for you to have 2 Bitcoin. So it costs you roughly $98,000 to buy it over the year, but you will roughly get $52,000 in appreciation for having that 2 Bitcoin. And you'll be 2 and 21 million with the amount of Bitcoin that you have at 2. So for 1 Bitcoin, 75,000, 0.01, 7,500, then $750 for 0.01. And the moral of this video is to tell you guys it is very much possible for you guys to accumulate that much Bitcoin in about 12 months. So if you guys want, feel free to go down to the description down below and get some Bitcoin today. Go down to my trade links, get some exchange bonuses, and don't forget to subscribe and like.